Welcome to GeekSpeak, the show that brings you unscripted, unrehearsed conversations with interesting geeks from around the world. My name is Scott Barber. Let's see who I find today. So I'm hanging in the bear cave with Paul Holland at Star West. Now, Paul, yesterday you gave a tutorial called A Rapid Intro to Rapid Testing. Now, rapid testing is normally a 3-day course?
Yes.
So how did you condense rapid testing into a half-day tutorial, or was it a whole day?
It was a full day.
Full day.
We didn't cover everything. It was just an introduction to rapid software testing, but I covered sort of the overall concept of what we cover in the 3-day rapid software testing class. Talked a little bit about modeling, a little bit about exploratory testing, and sort of the overall philosophy of what rapid software testing is.
So for the folks out there who aren't familiar with rapid software testing, what, in summary, is that philosophy?
So you're asking me to summarize a 1-day tutorial, which is a summary of a 3-day class, into a paragraph. Rapid software testing is a methodology, it's a skill set, it's an approach to testing that can apply in waterfall, agile, doesn't really matter, and as long as you have some control over your testing methodology, you can switch your methodology from writing up your test cases in advance and creating scripted tests to creating an effective way of doing exploratory testing that will stand up to scrutiny, including in regulated environments. So you don't need to pre-script your tests. Even if you're testing medical devices or financial services or telecom, you can follow the rapid software testing technique and it will stand up to audits.
And that's been one of the traditional objections to exploratory is if folks need an audit trail or they have regulatory requirements that it's not going to work. But if you apply this, then as I understand that it actually has gone through audits and been blessed and whatnot. So it's not just a theory.
It's not just a theory. I spent about 6 years at Alcatel-Lucent in a regulated environment. The last 4 years of that, I was 17 years there, but in the last 6 years I was implementing rapid software testing, and we survived a couple of audits on my team employing the techniques. Griffin Jones has survived many medical audits using similar techniques in the medical field, so FDA audits.
Excellent. So aside from rapid software testing, a lot of folks in the testing industry, they recognize you as a facilitator of, in particular, peer workshops. So for the many people out there who've never experienced one of these things, tell us a little bit about a peer workshop and maybe a little about facilitation.
Okay. I facilitated 50 conferences/peer workshops. CAST 2013 was the 50th one on my list. So you're aware of WOPR, the Workshop on Performance and Reliability Testing. That was the first workshop I was involved in.
Right.
WOPRs 1 and 2 facilitated by James Bach. And then WOPR 3 was supposed to be facilitated by Kem Kaner, and he couldn't make it due to Hurricane Ivan.
Right.
Same reason you didn't make it.
That's exactly right.
WOPR 3. It was actually interesting. Hurricane Ivan passed directly over Kem's house and the place he was in Tampa. The path went right over both, which was amusing and completely blocked him from getting out, which for me ended up being very serendipitous because I facilitated WOPR 3. I apparently did a good job.
Or you were immediately accepted.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
That's a great way of putting it. Ross Collard, who was there because he doesn't live in Florida.
Correct.
And he immediately at the end of WOPR 3 asked me to facilitate WOPR 4. So I was rather flattered by that. So what a workshop is, it's an invitation-only collection of between, say, 12 and the largest one I've been to is 27 people. Without a trained, experienced facilitator, highly recommend you keep it to under 17. It gets exponentially more difficult to facilitate beyond that. But it's an invitation-only workshop where the participants share their experiences. So it's not tends to not be theoretical.
Right.
Instead, you say, this is what I've done. this was the story I have to tell, and then there's an open discussion afterwards where people say, why did you do it that way? Did you think of doing it this way? And it sounds like it wouldn't be overly educational, but every single one I've been to, I've learned a lot. They're incredibly...
Part of what makes it so poignant is that folks tend to have a very tight theme. So you're telling your experiences around a certain theme. So, whether it's about challenges with performance testing tools, or whether it's about interpersonal relationships in a DevOps audience, right? Everybody's telling somewhat related stories, and the ones that I've been to, what you find is after a handful of experiences, you see patterns start to emerge, and that's what makes it powerful.
Right. Yeah, you can easily draw conclusions or theories.
You
can draw theories or based on common themes that you see throughout. At Whopper 1, which you co-founded with Ross Collard, we had, I believe it was 6 theories on performance testing that have pretty much held up true. I'd say all but maybe 1 or 2 of them are still valid.
Right. Valid challenges that continue many years later.
Correct. Like the one that just pops into mind is performance testing tends to be an iterative process, where you don't know at the beginning what the goal is, or for that matter, what the software is going to do. And then after you've done a few iterations, then people say, oh, it's not quite good enough, or it is good, and so on. So saying it was an iterative process was rather revolutionary in 2002.
Right. Well, Paul, thank you for your time.
No
Much
problem.
appreciated.
It was a pleasure.
Well, that's it for this episode of GeekSpeak. I hope you'll join us next time. In the meantime, this is Scott Barber, hoping that you have plenty of GeekSpeak.